I'm here with director Jake Scott and two actors in the film, Kristen Stewart and Melissa Leo. Tell me about the casting Melissa and Kristen, and also James Gandolfini, who's not here.
Yeah, Jim had read the script and really wanted to meet on it, and I was in New York and I had coffee with him, and within about a minute and a half I was like, that is the guy to play Doug. And he'd just come off The Sopranos, and you know, so your expectations, my expectations were very different, you know, and I saw that this man had a real capacity for tenderness and truth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna start crying in a minute because he really does.
We miss him.
But sorry, and I really love that guy. And then I saw her Into the Wild, and I was just like floored by Kristen in that film. And I met with Kristen, and I think we really hit it off. And I loved the way she sat on my chair in my office. It was like, my God, that's Mallory. And then Melissa, I had always wanted to work with Melissa, and was familiar with her work from, you know, I'm very familiar with her from 21 Grams and from TV work as well. But I was very, very keen on her playing Lois. But until Frozen River happened, producers and money people, you know, they weren't as convinced. It was, you know, this stupid bankability thing.
What spoke to you about that character, the Allison Mallory?
That she had like the strongest life force. I don't know how he wrote a character that was like literally jumping off the page and like kicking you in the face, like while still being somebody that you know you could probably, who's literally like sopping toilet paper. And it also sort of opened my eyes to a lot of which is good now, but then it sort of was irrelevant. But I don't know what it would be like to have my life completely altered for me before I've even grown into like the person that, you know, I am. I know I'm speaking like vaguely, but like for anybody who's had any sort of trouble growing up, being abused or anything like that, sort of, I now am like overtly sensitive to stuff like that. And I don't know why I'm still talking. I met a few girls, and it's just, you can see it in their eyes. They are not going to rely on people anymore. Like, it's like they are who they are. And I've sort of thought that this girl was still a kid who hasn't completed the process of, like, she's just before the point of no return. Like, she's actually absolutely, like, you know, yeah, like when Melissa's character, when Lois comes to town and she sees, like, I've been having a lot of fun with Doug and it's been really cool, but whoa, like, these people actually, this is a big deal for them, and this isn't going on in my house, and I want that. But I don't want it from them, and I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to have that, but I thought it was cool that she could actually, like...
She recognized it.
Yeah, she has that. She hasn't lost it. And a lot of people, so many people.
That's what's really, I thought, in terms of the writing of the movie, it was so beautiful and also enhanced by your performers, and about just the life and loss and gain again, and that word hope, and that bit at the end. I don't really want to give it away, but that, you know, when you don't know, maybe not, like,
those
but
words
at least
you just said, life, loss, hope, were on my wall in my office in the house where I was working. They were the three cards: life, loss, and hope.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
That's really weird.
Well, that's what the movie is, so you achieved it. And Melissa, I love the prim. It was great. Tell me about this character for you, and how fun it must have been to kind of play her. And I just ran into the producers outside, and they were telling me about how they had to cover up tattoos and other things to get you to be Lois. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
I was very, very, very grateful to Robin Matthews, because I couldn't have done it without her covering up those tattoos. We spent hours in the makeup trailer doing that each day. Really, not so much that her face makeup was so heavy, but the coverage of my childish inking of myself. But anyway, and I think part of having tattooed myself is that it sort of pretty much seemed like there was certain roles that I'll be asked to play, and they don't ask me to do the other ones. And then came Jake.
I wanted you to peel the apple. And in my head, peeling an apple is done one way, but you did it in a spiral. Oh, yeah. That was so... it blew me away, that.
So Jake, how are you to work with on in doing this movie? Do you rehearse beforehand? Is there any improv that happens? And with Kristen and your scenes, and obviously you talk about the apple peeling with James.
We didn't rehearse scenes as such before we shot, but we spent a lot of time talking and I gave them each of them very specific notes, character notes, but also the journey of each of those characters. But I found that really kind of contemplating and investigating our feelings with Jim and Melissa, for instance, we sat and discussed what it would be like to lose a child, and discussed because we all have children, and discussed what it would be like to be in a marriage that was this, damaged.
Kristen, in your part, when you're doing research for this character, who is we learn a runaway and has had tragedy, obviously, and orphaned at 4, and has become a stripper and is some, quasi prostitute, basically. For you, when you're dancer, okay. How do you find the balance as a person, when you're with these women that do this and have had this tragedy in their lives, and you that are an actress that are going to portray them? How do you not compromise them or condescend to them and exploit them in a sense? I mean, how does that work in your heart and mind when you're performing?
While you're actually in it and meeting these people, there are those that obviously would never want to explain, like the inner workings of what make them up to you, because you're an actor in a movie. And at the same time, there are a lot of people that are really into that, and probably just more open people that would love that, who actually think that it's a story worth being told. And it's probably about how you approach it and how you walk in there saying it's if things had been set up for me, you're gonna go interview these girls, it's I was with people who were so sensitive to it that Jake was just just walk in there, they're there all day, you know what I mean? It was it wasn't about me interviewing them or meeting with them to talk about the fact that I had a part in this movie. I ended up saying that to them, I'm playing this part, but I'm actually just more wanting to know, it was really hard. And then subsequently, now that the movie has been made and talking about them now to people like you, and it's weird because what I learned from them was sort of very fundamental and not really the most, it's not a brilliant concept, it's just sad and it's something that I didn't know about. And how do you not condescend to them? You try to say in interviews as much as you can that I don't know really what it would feel like, but I really sympathize and I did the best that I could. And whether or not my character was too funny, Jim all the time was on set saying this is wrong. There would be, I think it was when he's yelling at me about cursing. He was just he doesn't, oh, and also about me saying sorry all the time. He really liked that. And I can't remember what scene exactly it was that he was not okay with, but he felt very much that we weren't being considerate of the whole scheme of the story that we were telling, and that we were getting caught up in the comedy of it, or caught up in how cool their characters are or something. And so you just never forget who you're playing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's it. It's awesome.